One point, Lawrence, that should have my Republican colleagues quaking in their boots. In the Florida 6 race, which was a Trump plus 30 district, where the margin was cut in half, and we'll see where it ultimately lands, but we know at minimum it was cut in half to around 15 or 16 points. There are 60 Republicans in the House of Representatives who currently represent districts where Trump did worse than 15 or 16 points. And every single one of those districts, there's now a target on the backs of those House Republicans.
All right, guys, so we got to continue our coverage of the reactions to the special elections that happened last night in Florida and Wisconsin, as you have Republicans giving reality checks to Democrats in the media about what actually happened last night, because Democrats are basically taking a victory lap over losing, right? Ultimately, they lost. Nothing changed last night except the fact that Wisconsin now has voter ID, right? Voters voted for that, but outside of that, nothing changed, okay? Their Supreme Court was already liberal, and they lost in blowouts in Florida. Despite massively outspending the Republicans in Florida, Trump not being on the ballot, Republicans showing up at the last minute, and also apparently not having great candidates as well, too, they still got blown out. But yet, the mainstream liberal media, even the Wall Street Journal, they're out here trying to make this special election some type of referendum against President Trump and Elon Musk, which Ron DeSantis decided to speak out against. Take a look.
And so the fact that money had to be spent, that's not a good thing. This should have been a going away. And what happened was, but the media is trying to say, oh, see, it shows, I think the Wall Street Journal said something about this is like an anti-MAGA backlash. I don't think that's true at all for this district. I think you have a candidate in Randy Fine who, one, he's a squish. Okay, he supported restrictions on Second Amendment rights back in 2018. He tried to defeat my immigration proposal to help President Trump enforce immigration laws, and he tried to enact a de facto make Florida a de facto sanctuary state. So when people see that, our base voters don't get excited about that. You're not giving them a reason to go out and vote. And he's also, just the way he conducts himself, is somebody, he repels people. He's repelled people in the legislature. He's repelled, they wanted to get him out of the legislature, so they asked me to put him up for Florida Atlantic president, and I did, and the whole board would have resigned rather than make him president. And so now he's going to be in Congress. I mean, it is what it is. So it was unique problems with this candidate that was causing this to be a close race. And I think it was trending to be a lot closer. Then what happened was they put in a lot of money on the Republican side, $4 or $5 million in a Trump plus 30 seat. You shouldn't have had to do, but they did. And then the president did a couple teletown halls where he said, listen, for my agenda, we need you to go out and vote. So I think the election day turnout was really good for a special election for Republicans in the district. And I attribute that to President Trump's intervention. I think these are voters who didn't like Randy Fine, but who basically were like, you know what, we're going to take one for the team. President needs another vote up there, and so we're going to do it. So I would not read into the underperformance that this is somehow a referendum on MAGA or Trump. I think it was a unique issue with this particular candidate.
Yeah. So even GOP Governor Ron DeSantis, who may be the most popular GOP governor that we have, okay, he's probably a strong contender for 2028. He said, listen, pump your brakes, right, to the mainstream liberal media and the Democrats, okay? Because, again, they're coming to conclusions that, in my opinion, are just not good conclusions to come to based off the results of these elections, right? But what they're trying to do is that they're trying to manufacture a reality. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about what I mean by that, because this is something that they do all the time. This is exactly what they're doing right now. But Republicans, even in the media, had to set these liberals straight due to the fact that, again, they're coming out here repeating the same talking points from the Democrats that, hey, this was an amazing night for Democrats. They did so well.
Scott, do you think this in Wisconsin was a referendum on Musk?
Well, I could look at it from another direction. I think the Schimmel campaign was really struggling, both financially and just in terms of traction before Musk got involved. He may have actually, given whatever boost he had late. But it didn't solve for the issue that the Republicans have, which are these low propensity voters, and trying to get them to turn out for things that are not Donald Trump. You heard Elon Musk, I think correctly, try to tie a vote in the Supreme Court race to much larger, macro political issues, but it wasn't enough. And so that is an equation the Republicans have to solve for. I don't think it's going to be an issue in 28, but look, you got a midterm between now and then. It will be an issue in these midterms, and that's something the party strategists are going to have to deal with.
Yeah.
He came to the state. He talked about cutting Medicaid, Social Security through DOGE, bringing those issues up.
Actually, he never talked. He explicitly said in Green Bay that he would not cut Social Security.
Well,
that's exactly what he said.
Talked at his rallies.
No, other people said about that, but I was there. I watched him.
Okay.
He did not say he was going to cut Medicaid.
Other people at his rallies who work for DOGE, who work for Elon Musk's organization, talked about those issues.
No, I was at the rally. Not a one of them said that. That's what protesters said, but nobody there actually said that.
Do you think that there are risks here?
There are.
For
People believe the lies that people are saying about that.
Being
but that's not at all what they said. If people believe that Medicaid and Medicare is going to be touched, that's just a flat, outright lie. What he talked about are people who are over 120 years old who clearly are not alive.
Well, the reason I brought it up is
Social Security or Medicaid.
Okay, well,
that's totally wrong. I thought
just to sort this out, the reason I brought this up is because the claim here is that there's massive, widespread fraud, and that's all they're addressing. That's obviously a disputed claim because it's not true that 120-year-old people are getting Social Security checks. The checks stop at a certain point automatically because those checks and balances
but those Social Security numbers get counted for various parts of the federal government. So they don't get a benefit directly to those people, but they count for money that gets allocated to different departments in their budget. And they shouldn't be. If somebody is no longer alive, they shouldn't be able to count that.
I guess my fundamental question was, what are the risks here of Elon dabbling in elections for Republicans going forward?
Well, again, I think in the end, he's going to have to continue to make the case. Part of the reason why when we talked about our recall, what flipped things for us early on in that recall process, Time Magazine called me Dead Man Walker. And the reason was because all the narratives coming out from the press, coming out from the left, were about all these horrible, egregious things. Once we started to give examples of things we were actually doing, not the things the press said, not the things that our opponents said, but the things that we were actually doing, when we ended up going before the voters in the final election in the recall, we actually won by more votes than we did. So I think that what's paramount for him or anyone else aligned with him is keep giving actual examples of what they're doing. Set aside things like Social Security and make it abundantly clear that that's not being touched. But if there's waste, fraud, or abuse, spell it out, make the case, and bring it to the voters.
I think you saw a repudiation of the fact that Donald Trump got elected to seal the southern border and to reduce the price of eggs. Donald Trump has come to Washington, D.C. and flipped things upside down in a way that people do not want. And so today you had, I forget the department because they shut a new department down every day, but you had employees, I think it was HHS today, I can't recall, it was at HHS?
At the health department.
Yeah, at the health department standing in line today, and they didn't know who was going to be hired and who wasn't. And so you can sit here and say that, oh, we're not going to cut Medicaid, we're not going to do this, but the people who were in charge of running those programs don't have jobs today. And so it's hard to effectuate and put those policies in place if Elon Musk is here running roughshod on the government.
Elections, it was 10-1 that the Democrats outspent the Republicans. And yes, Democrats are obviously more
in the Florida races.
In the Florida races, it's 10-1. So talk about buying an election. But you said that President Trump was elected to secure the border. He was elected to lower the price of eggs. Guess what? Both of those things have happened. Mortgage rates have also come down. Oil prices have come down.
If you think the kitchen table issues today, if you think that people are sitting at home today and saying that their prices have gone down today, then you need to go outside and have these town hall meetings.
I'm simply saying that the egg prices have come down, the oil prices have come down, mortgage rates have come down.
Waffle House still has a 50-cent surcharge on eggs. Okay.
I went shopping the other day.
And I think the other thing that's really important to point out is the referendum in Wisconsin. The voter ID referendum, which was President Trump's one huge priority for President Trump, voter IDs. And it passed by double digits, and that, I think, was also a very big win. So
again, like I said, what changed after last night? Nothing except the fact that Wisconsin has voter ID, which is a W for President Trump and the Republicans. So again, this is why I said that at the end of the day, this is basically just a small W for the GOP. Nothing changed. The Wisconsin Supreme Court was already liberal. Republicans gained seats in the House, right? Technically, they actually gained seats, even though, I mean, those districts already had Republicans, but they were vacant seats, right? So I guess technically they were up for grabs, right? They were up for grabs. And, hey, Democrats lost. Big time, right? Big time. So, you know, to me, it's just so funny to listen to the mainstream liberal media try to manufacture a reality that's not really backed up by any facts. And they do this all the time, right? I watched them do this for 4 years straight under Joe Biden. And this is why when you see it and when you hear it, you recognize it and you never forget it, right? And it's just so funny to me. And it's almost damn near scary to think about how they all do this in lockstep, right? They all push the same narrative in lockstep, right? As if, again, they've been given marching orders to, hey, go out here and say this, right? Go out here and interpret the election like this, right? You know, it's funny because they want to talk about money in politics, okay? They want to talk about Elon Musk buying elections. Well, this shows that you can't just buy elections. Well, it's funny how they came to that conclusion when it comes to Wisconsin, but they didn't come to that conclusion when it comes to what happened in Florida, where, again, Democrats outspent Republicans 10-1, right? And Democrats always try to buy elections, okay, with the billionaires in their party, a vast majority of whom supported Kamala Harris. But for whatever reason, they only come to that conclusion about money being overrated, okay, in politics when it comes to Elon Musk, because they want to drive Elon Musk out of politics, right? They don't want Elon Musk to be involved. But when billionaires, Democrat billionaires, are pouring money into races for Democrats and Democrats lose, for some reason, they never come to the conclusion that they're billionaires interfering in elections, pouring millions of dollars in elections, trying to buy elections is a bad thing, or that it's not effective. They never come to that conclusion for whatever reason, but they want Elon Musk to stop spending money, right? That's what they want, okay? And they admit out loud that, our billionaires definitely are involved. It's just the difference is that our billionaires are quiet. They're working behind the scenes, right? They're not so out front like Elon Musk.
And then go on about saving humanity. It's just an ego trip.
Well, what's interesting about it is you heard anytime anybody brings this up, a Republican will say, well, what about J.B. Pritzker and what about George Soros and what about this, what about that? And I guess the answer is you don't see George, first of all,
George Soros,
you don't see them out there talking.
Yeah. No.
Right? I mean, they might be giving money to organizations, this and that, and people can criticize that if they want. But the idea that like, oh no, I am going to tell these voters, forget like hiring Scott Walker to do it or somebody on the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm going to tell them.
Right. No, he has to suck up all the oxygen. There's only one other person that needs more attention is Donald Trump.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. The only difference is that Elon Musk is transparent, right? That's the only difference. Democrats like their dirt to be done in the dark, right? They like their billionaires to buy their puppets and then to go out there to have the puppets deliver the message that the billionaires are telling them to deliver, right? That's what Democrats and the mainstream liberal media support. They never boohoo, whine, and cry about that, which I think is much more dangerous, to be honest with you, because at least with Elon Musk, you have transparency, okay? It's transparent. He's coming out and saying, hey, I'm putting all this money behind the race. Okay, this is why I believe, and this is why you should support X, Y, and Z. It's very transparent. Everybody knows who's speaking, right? But when you have these Democrats that are bought and sold by these billionaires, right, that are just puppets, the Democrat puppets, they're not speaking on behalf of the people. They're speaking on behalf of themselves. They're speaking on behalf of George Soros, right? And the other Democrat billionaires that routinely buy these elections, right? Which, again, the mainstream media, for whatever it thinks, is totally fine, right? It's totally okay to have a system that, again, is not transparent, right? But, again, when you have somebody like Elon Musk who actually brings transparency to a system that everybody knows exists, oh, now they got a problem with it. All of a sudden, oh, well, money can't buy elections, right? Money is not important. Well, if money is not important, then why don't Democrats actually stop taking money from billionaires? Stop taking money from billionaires, okay? Stop taking money, period. How about that, right? Since money's not important. If money's not important, why do they pour all the money into trying to flip these seats in Florida, right? If they didn't think they can win those seats, why did they put millions and millions and millions of dollars into trying to flip seats that they didn't think they could win? Huh? Can somebody explain that? See, again, that's why it's just so frustrating to me to hear the media drive a narrative that's just not based in reality. Because this narrative that, oh, this is a great night for Democrats is just a part of a desperate attempt to revive the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party is on life support and they're looking for anything that is a sign of a pulse from the Democrats right now, right? Because again, like I said, nothing changed after last night except the Republicans expanded their majority in the House, and we got voter ID in Wisconsin. Outside of that, nothing changed. Nothing changed. And again, that's why this narrative, it pisses me off, because I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to manufacture a reality. The reason why they want to manufacture a reality is because they want Elon Musk to stop. They don't want Elon Musk helping or supporting the GOP. But they're never going to tell George Soros, stop helping the Democrats. Stop funding them. They're never going to say that, right? Why they complain about billionaire money in politics, they will never go to their billionaires and say, hey, stop spending money. Stop being involved, right? They'll never do that, okay? But they want Elon Musk to stop being involved. Oh, Elon is the reason why Brad Schimmel lost in Wisconsin. There's zero evidence, zero hard evidence that Elon Musk is why Brad Schimmel lost. If anything, like Scott Jennings said, Elon Musk likely probably gave him a boost, because like I told you guys, Republicans were basically asleep at the wheel going into these special elections, right? Nobody was talking about these special elections, and Democrats are currently in campaign mode right now. They are campaigning, actively campaigning across the country. So you got one party that's asleep at the wheel. You got another one that is actively campaigning because they're on life support, and the Wisconsin Supreme Court was already liberal. You got a conservative candidate who, again, nobody probably knew about until the last minute, and then Elon comes in and gives the guy a boost, and he comes within, 10 points, right, of winning? I mean, I'm just saying, he did better than Democrats did out in Florida. I'm just saying. He did better than the Democrats did out in Florida. So it's just funny, because what they want, okay, they want Elon to stop helping the Republicans, because, again, apparently billionaires helping politicians is bad. But it's not bad when the billionaires help Democrat politicians, even though Kamala Harris raised, $1.5 billion from billionaires and lost the 2024 election. But again, none of these people have come out and suggested that, billionaires supporting Democrats is a bad thing. I've never heard it, right? I've never heard these people say, wait, maybe Democrats should stop taking that money. Maybe those billionaires should stay out of politics, right? Stop trying to buy elections. I've never heard them make that argument. Because the whole point is to try to kneecap Republicans. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to drive a narrative to basically force Elon to stop helping Republicans, to force the Trump administration to change course when it comes to the policies and decisions that he's currently making. They want to change the agenda that is currently being pushed right now by the Trump administration. That's what this is about. That's what it's about. And this is why we can't buy into this narrative. Ultimately, at the end of the day, the problem that Republicans have is the same problem that they've had for years, okay, since Trump became the president of the United States, which is that Republicans underperform when President Trump is not on the ballot, right? And they have to fix that. I don't know how they fix it. Maybe President Trump has to start doing rallies, right? Maybe Republicans need to get in campaign mode. I don't know. But I'm just saying that there was nothing unusual that happened during this special election that, in my opinion, is a real big cause for concern, or suggest that Republicans need to change course or make any changes in any major way, because that's what the media wants. The media wants them to make changes. They want President Trump to stop the mass deportations. They don't want President Trump to pass the GOP tax cuts. They don't want President Trump to fix Joe Biden's economy. They're not even acknowledging that President Trump has done these great things. Bakari Sellers, the voters put Trump in office to shut down the border and to lower the price of eggs. The price of eggs are declining. And guess what? Still no credit, right? Still no credit. Even though the president doesn't have anything to do with the price of eggs, to be honest with you. I mean, except Joe Biden killing all those chickens that contributed to egg prices going up as much as they have in the first place. But outside of that, the president doesn't have anything to do with the price of eggs. But hey, that doesn't stop the Democrats and the mainstream liberal media from pushing this narrative. My point is this. The only real takeaways from last night are that Trump voters, Republicans need to show out and vote even when President Trump is not on the ballot, right? That's the real takeaway, okay? And if we do that, we're winning, okay? And we have the opportunity of a lifetime coming up in the midterms if we can expand our majority, hopefully, okay? If we can expand our majority, we can put the Democrats away for the next 20 years, guys. That's what people have to understand. We have the opportunity of a lifetime, especially with 2030 coming up, to put the Democrat Party away, to not have to deal with them running this country into the ground, again, at least for the next 20 or 30 years, if we can pull off expanding our majority and winning in the midterms. But Trump voters, Republicans, have to show up even when President Trump is not on the ballot, and that's really what it comes down to. That's what this comes down to at the end of the day. So, hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.